Alright, this video is on why is there oil running down the foot of my outboard, especially around the exhaust port area. Uh, Burnt, usually green, blue, blackish color, and you really don't know what's going on. This has been an issue I've been dealing with for a year now, and finally found out why it does it and exactly the reason it does it. And there's a couple things that can cause it. The number one thing is an air leak in your fuel line. I didn't say gas leak, I said air leak. And I'll explain why. Alright, it's our trusty little drawing here, I guess you would call it. It's not so great, sorry. Alright, you got your gas in your tank here, and it draws out through here, and it's all done by siphon. And it runs all the way to the outboard, through the prime bulb, and then it goes to the fuel pump, okay? Alright, if you have a small crack in the line, or a little bit of a break in the line between the tank and here, you're more than likely probably not going to find or even know it's even there, due to the fact that once air is introduced into the crack, it gets into the system, the siphon runs back, and everything else runs with it. So you lose everything, you back up with the prime bulb, starting all over again. Alright, we have a crack here in the line, here, connection, any connection you got, you can very well get an air leak. You really need to check these. Once air is introduced into the system, now your pump is pumping gas through here. As it's pulling the gas up through here, and your gas mix, oil mix, or whatever, or just gas coming up through here, it hits that area there with the air that's got a crack. Now it's going to draw that air from out of that crack all the way up into the engine. Once it gets to the fuel pump, whether it's being manually driven or by the engine, what's going to happen is it's going to turn to a foam. A lot like taking a beer and turning it over upside down in a glass. You get that big fuzzy foam stuff. And instead of running like a solid liquid oil mix going through the engine, now you're getting a foamy mix in there. Alright, it's not going to burn clean, it's not going to burn properly because it's not meant to have foam going through it. But as it builds up in here, you start smoking like hell, smoking really bad, that's going on. And once you shut the engine off, all the unburned oil and everything runs right down the foot and right down to the bottom side here where the prop is at. And you see the prop is generally, if you're just running muffs on it, you'll see the oil run right down to the bottom side here, that area. And if you're running it in a barrel, you will see the whole prop completely covered in oil. You also see the bottom of the engine covered in oil. And you probably won't even be able to see into the bottom of where the barrel's at because it's going to be so oily. That's one way the oil runs down the foot. Introducing an air leak here through the system. This is the most common way. The second common way is through a VRO, run on the Johnson. The VRO system here, where it takes the gas to come in here, up through here, it goes into the pump. Alright, say all lines are solid here, there's no leaks in here whatsoever at all. The oil comes in through here like it's supposed to, the gas comes in through here like it's supposed to. Alright, keep in mind, this pump is pumping fuel, okay, and it's ran by the crankcase. From a pulse limiter, which is blue. If you don't have a blue one, you might want to check into getting one because there's some difference between the black and the blue one. I don't really know a whole lot about that. Everybody recommends running the blue one. Alright, back to here. If there's a leak here on this hose here, or it's an old hose like ours is, it's 22 years old I think it is. This is it right here. That's what it looks like. And the hose was so old that it was actually sucking itself shut as it was trying to pull. Not only that, it was actually leaking from here and leaking here as well. So it was pulling air through there. Now this made such a big deal, it was stupid. Alright. Number one, it was kinking itself up, squeezing itself shut, leaking here, leaking there. Alright. As it's leaking here and leaking there and sucking itself shut, it can't drive the pump, pull the fuel up like it wants to. Alright, so we're kind of starving it here a little bit on getting the fuel up here because it is pumping it from all the way down to here from the tank. Alright, now keep in mind your oil here is powered by the pump inside the boat. So it has a pump here, which is here, and canister where you pour your oil in, and it pumps oil all the way up to your VRO. Now you have pressure there going to here, but you don't have fuel going to here that well. So now you have a massive amount of oil up here and less fuel. Now that's going to be a huge amount of oil that it can't burn. So naturally the next thing that happens is oil runs down through the bottom side here and runs down the foot because it can't burn it all. And the result of this is normally fouling out the plugs really bad and smoking like hell. Oh, I wanted to go back to this hose here and talk about it a little bit. If it's actually pulling air through here or sucking itself shut, this is experience on hand on what happened to our outboard. And the difference of having one that's good and solid like it's supposed to be on here and both ends sealed up like it properly should be, it will make a huge difference in how the engine runs. We had our outboard set up, we run on a 225, and it basically had it on 900 RPMs. We didn't set the engine up to run just like that. With this leaking like it was, which we didn't know at the time, we placed the hose here. We actually couldn't order this hose. They said they don't make it anymore. Luckily, I was lucky enough to find, I think this was a 5/16 hose. I just happened to ask a guy about it in the parts department that we deal with, and he had a piece of 5/16, and we kind of bent it around and shaped it the best way we could and put it on there and sealed both ends with clamps. And the result of it was, running from 900 RPMs, that we were sitting on 1500 RPMs after that. That's just showing you how big of a difference this makes on the amount of fuel that you can get and oil by this one little piece here. That's right there. I just wanted to add that in as well. Another way air can be introduced in the VRO is on this seal here. Where'd it go? There it is, that little guy here. Normally they leak a little bit. I've replaced ours a couple of times. This seal here and this part that goes up into it, where the fuel line runs all the way up. I have found once it will suck air through here if the seal's really bad, and normally if it's bad it will leak gas through because it's already had it up to pump and it'll leak down a little bit, right? But they're always wet for some reason. I really don't know why, but it stays that way. The oil side of it I haven't really got into a whole lot. I haven't had to deal with that yet, so this is just some of the reasons that you may have oil running down the foot. Simple as that. Hope it was helpful. Have a good night.